Bad Larry.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Bad Larry Kingdom. I'm your host, Bad Larry. We are checking out X-Men number 33, and this is titled Anomaly, Part 3. And I like the cover. Let's be honest, it's a little bit cheap. You got one hand in the foreground, you got one face, you don't have another hand, you don't have a lower body. And with professional tools, you have AI assistants, you have digital renderings. This probably took Tony Daniel, no more than 30 minutes to make this cover. It's pretty, it's cool to look at, but it's lacking. You only have the one character. We've seen this pose a million times. Here's my issue with this little mini series Anomaly. We're on part 3, and this story revolves around Schwartzchild, an adult who was turned into a mutant through an experiment by 3K. The Schwartzchild wasn't born a mutant. He was forced to evolve into one using technology and science. And the bad guys decided to kill him. He's created this gravitational anomaly in Canada. Why are we focusing so much on this character? I don't know what the appeal is. He's not super popular. He's brand new. I don't get it. Kid Omega and Ben are trying to get into Schwarzschild's mind in order to rescue him. However, if things can't get resolved quickly, because all of these anomalies are tearing up the land, well, Magneto has decided to put a little fail-safe right above Schwarzschild's head, meaning if Kid Omega and Ben aren't successful, well, he's going to drive this metal spike through Schwarzschild's head, and that's that. You know who doesn't like that? Beast. He gets all in his feelings. Oh, we're rescuing Schwarzschild. Magneto's like, yeah, cool, but you always gotta have a failsafe, which is smart. Why wouldn't you want it? Why would Beast be so upset about that? And this is where I think it's Beast's anger stems from. His super virtue signaling is that he's aware that he's done some atrocities and some sort of timeline where he's evolved and he was the Dark Beast and he's super villain. So I think he's trying to overcompensate by being extra good. We're going to save everybody to prove to everybody that he's not a villain. But the truth is, sometimes you can't save everybody. And it's smart by Magneto to put this little failsafe in place in case Kid Omega and Ben aren't successful in saving Schwarzschild's mind. It's not evil to protect yourself and the team and everybody else, but Beast gets so uppity about it. He's really annoying. Kid Omega and Ben are deciding how they're going to approach diffusing these booby traps in Schwarzschild's mind that's placed there by Cassandra Nova. And Kid Omega, no disrespect to Ben, said, well, you were an experiment that, they threw back into the wild. They didn't care about you as much as this Schwarzschild's guy. He's one of their X-Men, and they've invested more into him, including replacing an arm that Magic cut off. He's more booby trapped than Ben was because he's more important to them. So Ben has to get over that. And he's also saying he's not a stone cold X-Man like Cyclops or Psylocke, but he's still an X-Man. So he's got to get the job done. So he's going to go do his best. This is weird, man. The X-Men like to get weird and freaky compared to like the Avengers. The Avengers are like, more milk toast in terms of their stories. The X-Men like to get freaky. You got Kid Omega mentally, psychically taking off Ben's head and getting the tools from Ben's head that's going to be able to be utilized to start dismantling the booby traps of Schwarzschild's mind. But the imagery, it's freaky. Zorn is healing up some of the agents. These are humans that were sent by the Canadian supernatural team, the Department H. This is like the CIA, FBI, but for supernatural things going on. And they are in Canada. Zorn's a healer, and so he's healed up everybody. And now one of the commanders is saying, "Can we leave?" And Beast is like, "Nah. The gravitational anomalies are too wild. You can't leave. You're gonna have to just wait it out." But my science team's on it. You know, we're gonna save the Schwartzchild guy, and the Department H guy is like, "No, we gotta take him." And I don't know if Beast is gonna like that. You know, his virtue signaling ass. I like this Beast, and I also don't like him. I like the fact that he's not in the lab coat. He's not wearing the stupid glasses. He's got, you know, the more beastly, feral looking eyes. He looks more menacing. A lot of times they try to downplay the scary side of Beast, but if you saw this guy in real life, you'd be terrified of him. And I like that they're utilizing that aspect of Beast, and he's basically telling this uh, Department H guy, "Hey, back off. We saved your life. Let us do our job. Don't get on our way, or we'll beat your ass." I mean, that's what his body language is saying. Kid Omega is doing his little work, and then you hear that click. Uh-oh, look at that face. He knows they're in trouble. They just set off one of the booby traps. This trap is specifically called the Black Bug Room, which means it's going to attack you with shame and fear. And it's kind of like you just have to get through it, just like a regular booby trap. You're just going to have to get yourself out. Kid Omega is telling Ben, "Hey, you better, be strong, and you're going to have to overcome it. They're going to attack you with shame and fear." So let's see. This is part of, I guess, Ben's trial by fire, getting through all of these little missions to make him more of an X-Man than he already is. He still doesn't have an X-Man name. He's still just Ben. Well, this is a bit anticlimactic. Ben gets into the little black bug room, and it looks like he's not being attacked. It's Schwartzchild being attacked with the shame and the humility, and Schwartzchild is having himself a real pity party. That he was abandoned by his team. Oh, boo hoo. I feel like this is a bit of a fail. Judd McKay could have really developed Ben a little bit more. I mean, he is an actual X-Man, but instead of having him develop and grow by overcoming this black bug room, well, it's not his black bug room, it's Schwartzchild. We don't care about this guy, Schwartzchild. He's part of the bad guys team. Why are we developing this character more than Ben, who's actually on the X-Men? Here's the thing, if you're defusing a bomb, there's no danger unless there's a time limit involved. This is why uh, they always have a countdown timer. You got to pick one, 5, 4, 3, cut up. Why are you? There's the danger involved. It's not because you're clicking the wrong wire, it's because you're having to do it on a time crunch. Well, the time crunch is that Beast injected Magneto with this dextroamphetamine X, which is allowing him to use his powers, but his body is metabolizing it too fast, which means that he's not going to be able to hold off all of these anomalies for too long. He's got his helmet off, which is allowing him to connect telepathically to Kid Omega, but he's going to have to put his helmet back on so he can concentrate, which means that uh, they won't know what's going on inside Schwartzchild's head or Kid Omega's head, and that they really are on the clock right now. This piece of writing is wild. Maybe that's why they didn't want to have Cyclops in here, because Kid Omega is kind of like a bad boy. He don't care if people live or die. Really, he's a bit of a rebel without a cause. um, Ben is about to kill Schwartzchild because Schwartzchild is an agent of 3K. 3K is the one that turned Ben into this mutant and ruined his life. He wants to take his anger out on somebody. Well, Ben, he has the chance to kill Schwartzchild right here and get a little bit of revenge back on 3K. And Kid Omega comes in and is like, hey, if you want to kill him, kill him. I don't really care. It will stop the anomalies out in the real world. Um, it's up to you. This is so interesting. It's a great development aspect for Kid Omega. He is using this reverse psychology on Ben, saying, hey, if you want to kill him, be my guest. I'm not going to stop you. He's saying, I can't even stop you if I wanted because he used too much of his power to try to break out of his own little black bug room. So he's cooked. But he is saying, hey, if you want real revenge, you're going to have to stop 3K. That's who you're really after. And Schwarzschild here, he's the only lead right now that they have to 3K. So if you kill him, well, you're kind of, two steps back, and we have nothing to go on in terms of getting closer to 3K in their organization. So, life isn't fair. What they did to you isn't fair, but you're a mutant. That's what happens to us mutants. We got to deal with it. But hey, if you want to kill him, kill him. But if not, let's get on with the show because we got to get out of here, and then we can use this guy as a lead. Tick tock. Every second those goes by, it's removing the choice. Ben is struggling if he wants to kill Schwarzschild or not. He's very close to killing him. Meanwhile, Magneto is telling everyone, "Hey, time is running out." He tells Beast, "Hey, sorry, buddy, but I'm gonna have to kill this guy." Well, the X-Men save Schwarzschild in the nick of time. Well, I guess it's the science team. Magneto stops right before he is able to impale Schwarzschild with this sliver of metal. And then he's a bit annoyed that Kid Omega and Ben took so long. And I love that Kid Omega's like, that's why everyone hates your ass, surly old Magneto. And now they got to take Schwarzschild back to Alaska, back to America before they have to deal with more Canadian Department H fools. And here I think is why they haven't yet given Ben an X-Men name because in his heart, he still isn't truly an X-Man. Kid Omega isn't wanting to kill. He's barely an X-Man, but Ben, he's still willing to kill people. X-Men don't kill people. That's why Beast, I think, is so virtuous. He's trying to make sure everybody is not out here murdering people. I mean, we already saw Juggernaut murder Ocelot before, and that was a problem. We don't want to set a precedent that X-Men are out here killing people willy-nilly, mutants or humans. So this is why I think that they haven't given Ben an X-Men name yet, because he has to change his spirit more and be less murder Ben and a little bit more save the people Ben. I mean, the story was okay. They're really dragging it out in terms of saving Schwarzschild. I think that they could have done that in half an issue and then gotten a little closer to 3K in the other half. This whole everything has got to be 3 to 5 parts in terms of a story compared to, like, the Spider-Man series that I have. Everything gets wrapped up in one issue. I don't think it's forcing it to wrap things up in one issue, but 3 to 4 to 5 issues for every little storyline, it does get to be tiresome. And I know that they want to make these stories epic and everything, But I think that there's a balance. I think that if you go a 5-part mini series, give me a 2, then a 1, then another 3, then you can go back to 1, then you get another 5. But don't make everything a 5, a 5, a 10, a 5, a 10. It's too much. And, you know, so it looks like going into issue number 34, we might be focusing on the transformation of Juggernaut into a hero. So that'll be interesting. That's why I'm giving the hype a B, because I am interested in this transformation.